What's going on, guys? My name is Rudy Ortiz. Welcome to Barber Social. I am the owner and proud owner, developer of barbersocial.com. I'm currently also an e-commerce guru and I guess an online marketer. You know, I've been around so many different businesses. You know, coming up, you know, I was literally in the cosmetology industry for about 20 years or so. You know, I was a barber since the age of 15. I was born and raised in you know, what we call the hood, right? In Jersey City, New Jersey. Probably the hardest years of my life were the 5 years in prison that I had to spend, you know, as a kid, literally the age of 19. And I was put away all the way to the age of 23, you know, and fast forward a little bit, I've owned 7 beauty salons, 1 major barbershop, and I've been around the industry, so there's not really too much you guys can tell me about it to sugarcoat it, and I know the ins and outs. I started cutting hair when I was about 15 years old, probably a little bit less, maybe 13-ish, 13, around 14. My mom used to be a cosmetologist. She was a hairstylist and she used to work at Supercuts and all these places, and she used to bring her clippers home, and I literally started to experiment on myself, and then it just literally, I progressed. As I continued to progress, I started cutting my friends down in the basement for like $2 or $3, and I remember from there it became a skill, just a natural talent, just like driving a car. By the time I was 17, I managed and owned my first barbershop, which unfortunately I lost when I got into the whole gang affiliation and lifestyle that I chose, and it led me towards prison. I literally went to jail for, you know, the 5 years of my life that were probably the most important years of anybody coming up. That's the time where you become a man and you decide what career you want to, you know, take on. You know, you go to college, you go to school, you become whatever it is you're supposed to become. So I came home to literally zero, man. And I try to tell people all the time, man, you can't use your past or your life experiences as a crutch, as excuses for why you are not where you want to be. You know, and I try to be the biggest example possible because I'm living the dream right now, and I never thought it was possible until I got myself around the right people. I just started to understand that it all started with my surroundings and who I chose to optimize my time with. The way I came out of network marketing and I got into e-commerce was through the grace of God and me running into the right people at the right time. And it happened to be during a presentation. And those were my current mentors in the e-commerce industry, the online platforms, which I currently make money off of right now. And it's going very, very well. But yeah, online marketing right now is possibly the biggest way to go, which is why I developed Barber Social. Barber Social is an online platform that basically is a self-marketing system that teaches you how to, you know, advertise yourself using your social media. One of the privileges of getting involved with network marketing was the fact that they give you this whole list of mentors to study, and you know, a lot of those guys really had a big influence on me, especially in my current situation that I was in. Literally finding myself in a depression state on the sofa. Literally, I couldn't get up for 2 weeks. But watching these guys day by day, and I'm gonna have to start with, you know, Jim Rohn, who's a classic, and a lot of mentors people watch till this day learned from him and they just expanded on it. But Jim Rohn was one to definitely watch. You know, Les Brown was a huge inspiration, being from Miami, Florida, where my current situation is, Carroll City, which was the hood. And Les Brown, you know, was a big influence on me. E.T. has to be Eric Thomas, man. One of the strongest, most powerful guys, and that's why he gets hired for motivational speaking in NFL teams, NBA teams, basically all sporting events as you can think of, to motivate them and soup them up before the game. Like, he literally gets paid for that. He's a strong person I watch. Grant Cardone, my Uncle G, he's one of my top right now competitors in the industry. He's worth over $500 million. He's also one of the biggest real estate investors in the world right now currently. And I learned from his books, 10X Rule, which is one of the great ones. Be Obsessed or Be Average, I read those. Who else, man? Ty Lopez right now, who's an online guru, social media mastermind, you know, and I'm learning from him daily as we continue to speak. You know, one of my books that I watch right now is Napoleon Hill. I do audiobooks, man. I'm not really that guy to sit there behind the words. Audiobooks are usually good for me, and I do them normally right before I go to sleep. They say your conscience is literally awake while your eyes are shut. So if you listen to these things while you sleep, they really take a toll and they really start to sink in. And I advise you guys to do so. I think my biggest role model in life right now that I will forever look up to is my mom and my dad. And for two different reasons. One reason is that my mom, till this day, who's about to be early 60, she still doesn't give up, and that's just one thing she's had since she was born. It was just that instinct to always go no matter the struggle. And my mom kind of taught me something early on, which was you got to push for what you want. You got to push for what you want, and you got to make it happen no matter what it takes. And I just want to elaborate on that a little bit, what it takes. Dude, if you're not willing to wake up while other people are sleeping, if you want to go to the nightclub instead of going to the bank, there's something that just happens to your mentality when you start to progress and you start to see things that really start to take a change and something inside of you just clicks. My mom's always pushed me towards making sure that one day will click inside of me, and it finally happened. So I know she's proud of me, and I'm proud of her for pushing me to that extent. And my dad, for always being that aspect of business that I needed in my life. My dad in 1985, 86 made a decision to move to Puerto Rico, started from my grandmother's backyard, ended up becoming the #1 mailbox distributor for the whole Caribbean islands, Santo Domingo, St. Thomas, St. Croix, Puerto Rico. And he ended up flourishing into a $1 million company, which was awesome. So every time I visited him, I got a taste of the good life. This is what I try to tell people when I talk about the $100 steak versus the $10 steak. And it goes towards the beginning of what I was talking about, surroundings, right? If you're gonna pay $10 for a steak, you're gonna be in Chili's or a Fridays, right? And you're gonna be around Chili's and Friday people, right? But if you pay $100 for the steak, even though you couldn't afford it, it wasn't about the taste, it was about the people that surrounded the steak. And that's what I used to do. I used to go to the most expensive restaurants even when I couldn't afford it, just because I knew who was gonna be at the bar that night were gonna be millionaires and people that I wanted to learn and study. I couldn't learn anything going to the Chili's and Fridays. It was impossible. So literally I would make money cutting hair, and I would go to this expensive restaurant, wear my best clothes, and try to get as much knowledge as I can in one night, compacted, right? And that's where everything started to take the change for me, which was huge, man. And I always talk to my mom about what I used to learn, and she's proud of me to this day, and obviously she's my mom, so she's one of my biggest role models, and so is my dad, man. My dad showed me one of the most important lessons in my life. He said, you know what life's about? And this is when my dad started to get money, right? Because when my dad was poor, nobody really gave a fuck about him. But when he started to make money and started to progress, everybody had their hands out, right? So he said, you know what life's about? And you're gonna learn this as you get older and you become a man. Life's about 10 grand. And I said, what do you mean by that, Dad? He's like, you're an asshole, you're a dick, you're the worst person in the world because you don't want to share and you don't want to give anybody money. Then one day, when you made it successful, you go to the same people you love and you give them $10,000, trying to help their miserable situation or their issues or whatever it is they're going through. They take the $10,000 and guess what you become? You become Jesus Christ, the best guy in the world. Oh my God, you walk in now, your coffee's done, there's eggs on the table. You're like, oh shit, stop the music, what's going on here, right? So then literally what happens, they take your $10,000 and once it's finished, they literally have their hand out again. And now you say no. And when you say no, guess what you are? You're back to being the same selfish asshole you were in the beginning before you gave them the first 10,000. And it sucks, but that's really how life becomes, So you have to learn how to say no to people, man, and really take the time to understand that it's all about you and your progress in the moment. I think the most important part for me right now when it comes to thinking about my bigger vision, my goal, what's the end point, right? Because everybody starts something with an end point, and my whole thing is legacy. Like I'm out here trying to build a legacy. What I mean by that is I call it the echo in the wind, right? Now, if I build a legacy and I'm able to leave behind, you know, what Grant Cardone does for his kids, what Tai Lopez is building, with all these people that I mentioned earlier, if I manage to do that, which I will, and like I said, I will, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, you know, I understand that my kids' will talk about me. You know, my kids' will talk about me because I was able to build that, and I call that the echo in the wind. You know, so one major thing for me right now is everything I do and what I progress towards, I have my kids behind my brain. Like, they're there. My conscience is all about my kids. And I understand what my bigger purpose is. Other than that, when it comes to me in a living standpoint, I learned the 4 pillars of life. You're talking about love, wealth, health, and happiness. And achieving those are very important because you can be a billionaire and be fat in bed and not be able to get up and you're not enjoying anything. You can be a millionaire and not have the people you love around you. And I'm starting to understand now that one of the best energies in life and the best feelings in life is to make $2 million and give one away. You know, and that to me is what I live for right now. And I need to have those 4 pillars in order for me to be really happy. You know, my health is there. Tai Lopez said this in one of his videos, and he says it's crazy how people lose their health trying to gain wealth, but then when they get their wealth, they're spending their money trying to get their health back, right? So we can't make those mistakes, right? We need to balance ourselves and balance our lives and make sure that we're able to succeed in these 4 pillars. You know, only then can I say you're complete. You know, and that's what I strive for. You know, if I'm not happy in my current situation, or I'm just making money to come home to an empty house, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. You know, so I'm struggling for that, you know, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to my level of success. I want to thank you guys for getting this far into you know, my bio. This was just a small pro quo about my life and where I'm going and, you know, what my big aspirations are and my goals. And I appreciate you guys for watching. If you want to contact me direct, feel free to do so via my Instagram at Success with Rudy. You can direct message me. You can also get on my Facebook, which is Rudy N. Ortiz. And feel free to start communicating with me. And let's build a relationship, man. This is what life's about. You have any questions in regards to anything you heard right now, feel free. This is what I'm here for. I appreciate you.